Hey guys, welcome back to Blaze channel. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Oppo A15 and the Oppo A73. Things you should look out for when you want to buy a phone, so that you can be your own tech nerd. You don't need to meet anyone for a phone reviews and advice when you want to buy yourself a smartphone. So stay tuned. Make sure you stay to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this particular video. So we're starting with the physical attributes of the Oppo A73. It has a dewdrop selfie camera pattern, as you can see up here. It's a 6.44-inch display on the screen. That is 6.4 inches, as you can see. The phone, it has a boxy feeling. You can see the edges are kind of straight, just like the iPhone 4 kind of feeling. It's not curvy like the Oppo A15. The camera layout at the back gives you, should I say, the iPhone kind of vibe. It's kind of an imitation, something like that, but the square nature is quite beautiful. As you can see, the phone is just very neat, but I think the boxy nature is one of the things I don't like about it though. The power button of the phone is on the right side, while you have the volumes buttons and the SIM card slots on the left side. Unlike most phones that have everything on the right side, it uses a USB Type C charger, and the volume, the speaker and the headphone jack are on the regular parts as usual. The Oppo A73 though, the back is quite, it has a canvasy feeling. It's not the regular plastic or rubber backs we see every day. It's, if you can look very well, you see that the layout is almost like a fabric, thick fabric, and it's a pack that if you don't use it with the phone case, it could get dirty over time. So this is the Oppo A15. It has a dewdrop selfie camera pattern, just like the Oppo A73. It's quite beautiful, but it's just the same thing with A73. It has a 6.52-inch display, which is bigger than Oppo A73. Most people prefer bigger screens though, which is quite better. Then, as for the feeling, it has a curvy feeling, unlike the Oppo A73 that is boxy. You can see the edges are curved. It's quite the, some people say it's called a sexy feeling. Well, it's very beautiful, it's nice, and the back is quite shiny too, just beautiful. Then as for the camera layout, it's almost the same. It's the same with, in fact, it's just the same with the Oppo A73. Then as for the buttons, you have the power button and the volume buttons, both on the right side, just like regular phones. Then for the charging type, it uses USB Type B, micro USB like regular phones, and the headphone jack and speaker on the usual places. The shiny back is one of the things I love about this phone. Unlike the Oppo A73 that could get dirty, as you can see how it just shines under the sun and everything. Is just really beautiful when you hold the phone. In fact, you can attract unwanted people to you. So the Oppo A73, the Oppo A15. I'll start with the Oppo A73. It's 16 megapixels and it takes very decent photos. I'll show you an example very soon. It has Gorilla Glass 3. That means the glass, the phone screen is quite strong. Like it can resist certain level of damage when it touches the floor. The battery of this phone is 4015 mAh. Now that particular battery size is quite disturbing, considering the fact that this phone is A73. It's higher than A15, but A15 battery is better than it. As usual, this phone comes with Android 10 operating system, just like most phones that are coming out during this period, which is actually nice. I think it's upgradable to Android 11 though. It has two variants for the RAM and ROM. It has the 4 gig 128 variant and it has the 6 gig 128 variant. It's actually weird though to see a phone that has 4 gig 128 and 6 gig 128. Most phones give you 4 gig 64 gig one variant and then 6 gig 128 gig variant. So the screen display is AMOLED, AMOLED means superior to OLED. It has more and more layers of display, giving you better view when you're playing games, watching movies, and all other stuff. Then, what again can I tell you about this phone? It has always on display, as you can see, it's always on, and on-screen fingerprints. You can just place your fingerprint on the phone and it will unlock the phone. That is very cool. Like, the era of fingerprints being here is gone. It's gone. If you're getting a phone now and you have enough money, don't get a phone with the fingerprint here. Either you get the fingerprint by the side or use this on-screen fingerprint. It's really cool. Now, the processor of this phone, it has Snapdragon 662 octa core. It's not the best of the Snapdragon processors, but it's actually recent enough and it should be okay for gaming. And it has octa core, meaning it has 8 cores in its processor. It can process much more stuff than a phone using quad core. Then another very beautiful feature about this phone, it has a 30-watt speed charging. 30 watts charging, meaning in 30 minutes you can go from 0 to 50%, and 1 hour can give you 100% full charge. This phone you're seeing here, it's just so amazing. There's another beautiful feature I love about this Oppo A73 is that it's very light. If a baby walks up to you and be like, see my phone, you can be like, wow, nice toy phone, and you just give it back to him. You won't even know the value of this phone. It's so light, like, and the camera pattern is just so beautiful when you're holding it. The Oppo design is just neat. But then this canvas back, anyone using this phone has to be careful so that you keep it neat. So this is the Oppo A15. Should I say the junior brother to the Oppo A73? This selfie camera is 13 megapixels. It will take okay selfie photos, but not as good as the Oppo A73, of course. It has 6.52-inch display, like I've said earlier. It's wider than the Oppo A73. Then when it comes to the storage and RAM, it has two variants. It has the 2 gig RAM and 32 gig ROM variant. As you can see, it's much lower. And then it has the 3 gig RAM and 32 gig RAM variant. I'll advise you to go for the 3 gig RAM 32 gig RAM variant. This particular phone comes with Android 10 operating system, upgradable to Android 11. It has 4220 mAh battery. It's a little bit bigger than the Oppo A73, which is one of the downsides of the Oppo A73. But this one is actually, the battery actually lasts. It has an LCD display, meaning it's not as good as the Oppo A73. The Oppo A73 has AMOLED, because in displays you have the LCD, the LED, the OLED, and Super AMOLED. Super AMOLED is so cool, but we're going to talk about that one later. This has a larger battery and it lasts a little bit longer. But the optimization of the Oppo A73 actually makes up for it and uses the battery much better. Like, it turns off most functions you don't need, making the battery to last longer. That is what optimization of phone battery means. It doesn't have Gorilla Glass at all, just like the Oppo A73, because Gorilla Glass has different levels. This one just has a normal glass. Then it has a Helio P35 octa-core processor. Now, when it comes to processors, the best of processors out there are the Apple's A14 Bionic chip, Snapdragon 888 that just recently came out. Then you have Huawei's HiSilicon Kirin. I don't usually advise people to buy Helio based processor phones, because when you begin to use the phone for much more tasking, should I say, task, whatever you want to use it for, that is much more complex, you begin to get poor performance. Helio is a beautiful 10 watts charging also. It's fast, but definitely not as fast as the Oppo A73. So I think we've talked so much about the physical attributes of the phone. So this is the Oppo A73. This is the UI of Oppo A73. This is the home screen. You can scroll down from up. You can see the arrangements. The boxes are quite spherical. It has basically the same UI with Oppo A15. The phone has gestures which enable you navigate through the phone very easily. For example, if you open an app and you want to go backward, all you have to do is to swipe left or right from the side of the screen and you can go back. Then when you want to remove the recent apps, you just slide from the bottom of the screen and they all come out. You swipe up and it's done. Comes to the camera of this phone, it's very very beautiful. If you can look very well, you see the way it's representing the vegetation outside. It just makes it so realistic, green and everything. The camera of this phone is very very good. So the phone has a 60 Hz screen refresh rate for gaming and 135 Hz refresh rate when in game mode. So you can see that for those of you that play games, you see that the phone actually does try. And so now this is the Oppo A15. It has color OS UI just like Oppo A73. The phone's gestures are the same. When you open an app, you can just swipe from the side and you can go back. Then to go to recent apps, you just swipe from the bottom and hold it, and you can just close all the apps. Also, in order to remove an app just quickly, you can just swipe from the bottom and remove the app. You see, just beautifully like that. The only thing that distinguishes this phone when it comes to the UI and everything is the processor, the RAM, ROM, and the camera. But the refresh rate and other things, but physically, when using the phone, it just has the same feel. So when talking about UI simply means user interface. How the phone feels when you operate it, the swipe from left to right, the color of the notification bar, the shape of all the apps and everything, how the phone just feels when using it generally. So I have with me here an Infinix Smart 5, and you can see that the UI is definitely different from Oppo. You can see how their icons are. It's a 13 MP main camera, which is obviously lower in quality and everything than the Oppo A73. As you can see, while viewing the same particular scene we use for the Oppo A73, and this one is quite poor, to be sincere. So now I'm going to answer most of the questions you may have between these two phones, Oppo A15, Oppo A73. So which phone should you buy among these two? Well, everything in life basically has its users, from music to technology to whatever you do with yourself in this life. I don't know what you do with yourself. It has its users. Now, this phone, we'll review it again. 2 gig RAM or 3 gig RAM and 32 gig ROM, the both variants, depending on the one you buy. 13 MP camera. The processor is Helio P35, which is good for regular people. So if you're not a gamer, you're just a regular person who uses your phone for WhatsApp, you chat, you go to Twitter and everything, Facebook, and you do basically normal stuff that people do with your phone, Snapchat and stuff. Majorly, girls fall into this category. No offense, but it's just the truth. This phone is actually very nice for you. The camera is very okay for what you need, and the 10 watt charging make it faster than most phones on the market now. This phone is okay for a normal person, but if you're a gamer, please do not buy this phone at all. No variant of this particular phone will be good for you, because the Helio P35 processor is bad. As for the Oppo A73, the boss, you can throw a cap for this phone. This phone, like I said, first of all, is light. So when playing games, you don't have to stress with the weight so much. It's just, you can just basically move your phone. They also have the 4 gig RAM, 128 gig variant. This phone was very beautiful with the Snapdragon 665 and 135 Hz refresh rate, on-screen display and on-screen fingerprints, dew drop, and the boxy feel. This phone is one of the phones plenty people want to have this 2020, this 2021. Sorry, it's actually both phones, Oppo A15 and Oppo A73, were actually released in October November 2020. So they were released during the same period. This one was released first, obviously, but they're not on the same level at all. There's nothing apart from the UI that is the same about these two phones, from camera to everything. So if you are buoyant enough, go for this. Now let's talk about the prices. This phone is going for about 100,000 naira in most parts of Nigeria now. This particular phone. This is going for 68, 65 to 68 range, depending on where you want to buy it. Cool. This is going for about 100k, but in some stores it's stepping down to about 95. So you can just hold some of your feeding money in school small, or if you're a full-grown man and you want to buy a very good food, you can get it for your child, you can get it for yourself. It will work beautifully for you. So finally, to answer the question of which phone should you buy, I'll just put it simple. Normal people, A15. Gamers, A73. This phone wins it in everything. So that's all for today's video, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video. I'm going to be reviewing other phones and other movies very soon. Watch out for our next video. Thank you very much. You've been so awesome.